Welcome to my Ultrakill level tier list video. I think the title is pretty self-explanatory. Let's get into some ground rules, and I will try to be quick. First of all, I have 3 loose criteria for rating levels, but emphasis on the loose part. This is just to give you some sort of metric to scale kind of what I'm actually talking about, because a lot of time it doesn't even make sense to me. 3 categories. First one, level design. Second one, combat/enemies. And third of all, my overall enjoyment of the level. That's what I'm kind of basing it all off of, and hopefully that makes a bit of sense, but it's very loose, like I said before. These may cross over into one another, especially for the third category, but don't sweat the small stuff. Last few things before I really get into this. I try to be as nitpicky as possible for this to make up for the fact that every level is honestly really good in this game, so try not to hate me if you really like a level and you see I rated it poorly. And if you disagree, you are more than welcome to tell me why. Also, I will not be accounting music in my ratings because it's all genuinely great. It's amazing. I don't think there's a single soundtrack I really dislike, with one exception I'll talk about later. As well, this is all my gameplay that is playing in the background. I know it sucks, but you'll have to deal with it. Finally, this video does indeed include fraud. Ooh, new layer. Well, not really new anymore, but if you honestly just want to hear about fraud, here's a timestamp you can skip to, and I mean, you'll see the end of the tier list. I think you'll be fine with that. Also, if you enjoy this video, I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, so if you could do me a solid favor and hit the funny button, it'd be greatly appreciated. I play whatever games kind of fit my interest at the time, so hopefully there's something on here that you're interested in, and if not, drop me a recommendation. With all that out of the way, let's jump into the prologue. Prologue 0-1 through 0-5. The opening is amazing and was really fun for the first time. It's a tutorial level, so there's not too much to expect here, but it does a great job of smoothly introducing enemies between levels and building Sword Machine up to be this big scary bad guy, as if he's not just a regular enemy, but it has some decent mini bosses. It's pretty solid introduction. As for my rating factors, the area design, I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5. It's some sort of factory-like level. I don't exactly know what's going on here, but I know this is the start of hell. Don't shoot me. It's solid, but not memorable to me. Combat/enemies, 3 out of 5. Good pacing for the introduction, but it's nothing crazy. The enjoyment, another 3 out of 5. I think it's great for a first playthrough, and it's really good to take into account that this is your first level. It kind of loses its luster a little bit on replays, but it's good. Overall, prologue, it's enjoyable, a great introduction, but it's not crazy memorable as a whole, starting near the bottom of this tier list with C tier. 1-1 Heart of Sunrise. The pseudo-surface level design is really cool. I love the fake walls, and I remember during my first playthrough, not realizing these walls were fake until the blood was just all over them, just floating there, this guy. That sounds way edgier than it was meant to be, but it's a testament to some cool level design. The area design, 4 out of 5. The fake surface and church aesthetic is a really neat take on the first couple layers of hell. The combat/enemies, as for that, it's like a 2 out of 5. It's nothing crazy for enemies in combat, but it's the first level. What can you really expect? For my enjoyment, I think it's a 3 out of 5. It's solid, it's fun, it sets the tone well, and still eases you into the kind of pace of Ultrakill pretty well. I think it's a solid B tier level, could be argued down to C tier. 1-2, The Burning World. Really similar to 1-1 design-wise, but it has a crazy moment when the world is lit on fire, and this just screams Ultrakill to me, and sets the pace for what to look forward to in this game, so it's kind of just a better version of 1-1. The area design, 4 to 5, same as what I gave to 1-1. Combat/enemies, 3.5 out of 5. There's some new enemies, like the flamethrower enemies, and that adds some variety, and overall, it's pretty solid. For my personal enjoyment, I think it's like a 4 out of 5. More content, great moments. Overall, it's just really good. I think 1-2 is an A tier level. Either A tier or top of B tier, like B+. 1-3 Halls of the Sacred Remains. First of all, the sun setting lower and lower as you progress through layer 1 is a really nice touch, and the blue skull path is a fun blitz through the buildings. Area design, 4 out of 5. The descent of the sun is really cool, and the elevation changes in the level are fun to play around. Combat/enemies, 3 out of 5. Solid, but nothing groundbreaking here. There's nothing really too new, and there's some a little bit annoying enemies with the elevation changes. As for my personal enjoyment, this is where it tanks. 2 out of 5. The red skull path. This is my bias. I hate the red skull path. It's annoying. I didn't like it at all. It's not particularly hard. It's just particularly annoying with the elevation changes and the lava floor and just, you know, it's not as great gameplay wise. In my opinion, you guys could have enjoyed it. You're allowed that. There's definitely some demerits here, but I'm also just kind of petty. I'll give it a C tier. 1-4 Clair de Lune. One of the most iconic levels in the entire game, I think. The first V2 fight. Walking down the grassy path in the dark night, solving the blue skull puzzle, and seeing another robot like yourself, it's just a crazy good experience. And when you're doing it fast, you can just rocket jump up and just break straight through the glass. Super fun. Area design, it's a 5 out of 5. The setting of the dark, lonely night with no enemies after all of this chaos you just went through, amazing. Combat/enemies, I mean, like, it's a boss fight, and it's a really good boss fight. V2 is challenging for the first time, and it's pretty trivial afterwards. There's some really fun strategies to do this really quick, and I think it's just overall a really fun first boss. As for my personal enjoyment, I think you can hear, you can kind of tell what my personal enjoyment was here. 5 out of 5. Flying through the window for the shortcut makes you feel really badass, and the fight in general is really fun. This is our first S tier level. I will admit these boss fight levels are a little bit harder to rank with my system, but I'm gonna keep going. 2-1 Bridge Burner. The gameplay is solid enough, and the enemy choice is also solid enough. This level shines with the high-rise neon-style platforms and towers. The area design is pretty good. Like I just mentioned, I'll give it a 4 out of 5. The combat / enemies, it's alright. It's nothing crazy, nothing memorable. Climbing the tower and the enemies, like the lots of projectile enemies, is a good idea, and it really teaches you well with the parrying, but nothing insane. Yeah, I'll give it like a 2.5 out of 5. And for my enjoyment, I don't know. There's not too much else for me to say. It's kind of like it's a mid-tier level. It's top of C tier. 2-2 Death at 20,000 volts. That is a crazy name. All right, the level has a neat concept, but fuck this level. Boo! Area design, the Neon City looks really cool. It'll be like a 3 out of 5 here. The combat / enemies, also nothing offensive, but my problem is in the enjoyment. 1 out of 5 because I hold a very deep grudge on this level. See, my bias is back, but it's because P ranking this level just took forever for me, like way too many attempts, and it's not because it's difficult, but because finding all the enemies in this level to get the S rank in the kills category is just such a major pain in the ass, and it's always because of the staircase with the flying drones or the filth house. Like I said at the start, I don't actually hate any levels, but this one's probably going to be one of my least favorites. This one's going in the D tier for me for the grave sin of being annoying to P rank. 2-3 Sheer Heart Attack. I really like this level, and it's only partially because this is the Mind Flayer introduction level. The level design is relatively compact, and I love the design as per usual, but there's some short water tunnels, which makes the area feel like really claustrophobic and chaotic. Area design's getting a 4 out of 5 for the things I just mentioned. The open factory sections are a little bit weird, but other than that, it's great design. The combat / enemies, it introduced the Mind Flayers. The Mind Flayers are one of my favorite enemies in the game. It adds a new challenge, and having to be wary of using the railgun underwater, very funny. Enjoyment, it's a 4 out of 5. It's a cluster of a level. The feeling of claustrophobia is a little bit overwhelming with the water, but that's a good thing. Definitely a really high up level for me. I'll give it like A+. The boss fight of Layer 2, the setup for this boss is crazy good. Though I'll admit the hand hallway fight can be a little tedious at times. But this fight is against the Corpse King itself, and the fight is simple, stupid fun. This giant beast is just shooting projectiles at you and just blatantly trying to punch you in the face. It gives you the opportunity to parry this thing's punch, and it just feels so amazing when you do it for the first time. The area design, it's a 4 out of 5. It's great to have such a dark hallway and your little railroad track. It's a really weird, unsettling feeling, and then the big boom happens. The feeling of megalophobia when he actually breaks through the ceiling is also crazy cool. So area design's a 4 out of 5 for me. The combat / enemies, I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5 just because I thought the Corpse King was a bit too easy of a fight, but it's nothing offensive. As for my actual enjoyment, the spectacle and the fight itself is great. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. It's a solid A tier level. On to the final layer of Act 3, Belly of the Beast 3-1. I mentioned this in my last Ultrakill video. I just love this level. At the end of 2-4, you literally enter the Corpse King, and this level takes you through a disgusting gauntlet with room after room of constant threats and just a general feel of unease. As you jump across flesh, you just tear shit apart. The area design is a 5 out of 5. It's grotesque, and it is compact, and it's amazing to play. I love the area design. The combat / enemies, it's everything that you've seen in Act 1. There's nothing I have to complain about here. I get a bit of everything, and there's some cool rooms like the Cerberus room where you have to fight 3 of them at once. Really fun. The enjoyment, I think you can tell where I'm going with this. It's a 5 out of 5. You don't have to worry about where this is going. 3-1 is a disgusting slugfest of a level, and I love it. It's an S tier. 3-2 in the flesh. Probably one of, if not the most iconic part of the game so far. This is the first Gabriel fight. Venturing through an empty level of just the same fleshy grossness that you had in the last one, but while hearing this strange voice monologue was such a great first time experience. The area design, 5 out of 5. It's the same as last time, except more unsettling because it's quiet now. Quiet aside from, of course, Gabriel doing the monologue. It's a great atmosphere. Combat / enemies, that's just gonna be based on the boss fight. And if you've played this game, I'm sure you probably enjoyed the Gabriel fight as much as I did. I love the Gabriel fight, especially the first one. It's a really good introduction to the difficulty curve in this game, and it's just super fun. As for general enjoyment, like I said, in these boss fight levels, it's mostly gonna be based off the combat. It's it's a 5 out of 5. Gabriel's voice actor constantly mocking you in this battle and making you feel lesser is a really cool touch, and Gabriel himself is just really fun to fight. Really cool level. I'm not trying to load up the S tier too much, but this game is just so crazy good with its level design. But this level is truly wild. S tier. Now for the real last part of Act 1, P-1. Because of course I'm talking about Minos Prime. You unlock this level after P ranking every level in Act 1, so it's supposed to be like a real test of your strength, and it does that. This level is solely dedicated to the boss fight. So besides the giant dark descent, there isn't too much to cover. Just the flesh prison and Minos himself. So for area design, it is losing a couple points here. The dark descent and the arena are cool, but nothing to write home about. The combat such enemies, Minos, absolute cinema. If this fight was just Minos, I think it'd be a perfect 5 out of 5. It's incredibly challenging, it's a super fun to learn fight, and Minos as a character is really funny and cool. The flesh prison, on the other hand, it's just annoying. It's literally just a nuisance. I don't think this fight is good at all, but at least it's quick. For my enjoyment from those other 2 points, you could probably say it kind of balances itself out. I think it does edge out to the 3 out of 5 points. Minos is just so good, but the flesh prison is so meh. And the actual design it's good. It's nothing offensive. I think I made my take on Minos clear before. The fight is a absolute treat, but the flesh prison drags it down. I think it's still a high B rank level. And now with Minos done, let's move on to Act 2, 4-1 Slaves to Power. The beginning of the desert levels. The layers of hell feel like they're taking place in more random places each and every time. Maybe that's just me. I think this level is actually the start of Sisyphus's kingdom, but I don't exactly know the lore. Don't quote me on that, correct me if I'm wrong. The desert theme is great, and when it's not nuking my bitrate, it's even better. The area design, it's 3 out of 5. It's standard desert level, nothing too crazy, but the open expanse is pretty cool. Combo slash enemies, 4 out of 5. Dual wielding guns and sand enemies add new mechanics to the fighting, which is really cool, and lesser angels are pretty badass, even if they're just nuisances later. Getting smited from the first time is very funny to me. As for my overall enjoyment, I think it was 3 out of 5. It's just pretty solid level in general, so I think this level deserves a solid B tier. 4-2, goddamn the sun, bonus points for the name, but I have a couple problems with this level of, it kind of feels like just more of the same. I don't know if that's just me, but it just kind of feels like more of 4-1. There's nothing really crazy new here, which is fine, but it's literally just a rinse and repeat of go through, fight more sand enemies, we got more dual wielding, and there's a Sisyphean mini boss at the end that's kind of interesting, but also kind of a pushover at the same time. I think he works much better as a special enemy rather than a solo opponent. Area design, it's a 3 out of 5. It's pretty much the exact same as 4-1. For combat slash enemies, I'm gonna knock off a couple points here. 2 out of 5, because there is literally like nothing new except for the Sisyphean defender, which there doesn't always have to be something new, but it's hard to describe, but the gameplay literally felt the exact same as the last level. For my enjoyment, I'll give it a 2 out of 5 as well. Just like I said from the combat slash enemies section, there's not much here. Honestly, I'm aiming to give each level some love, but I don't know, this level is just kind of meh to me. It's sorry, 4-2, you're going to C tier. 4-3, I'm really split on this level. The opening is a kind of slow-ish run around with some dark hallways and some sporadic fire pits you need to light. There's some enemies in here, but it's kind of just annoying to me. But then shit hits the fan when you enter the battle rooms. Still pitch black, but now with a metric shit ton of enemies as long as you light up all the fire pits at once. Area design, I'll give it a 3 out of 5. It's dark, so you can't really see much, but it's really cool when you are lighting shit up. Combat slash enemies, 4 out of 5. The chaos lights up the room with projectiles and feels like a absolute fever dream when you're actually playing it, especially near the end of the level. Enjoyment, I don't give this one much, but 3.5 out of 5. The quad fire pit room and the last battle room are super fun if you make them fun and you try to fight everything at once. It's kind of hard to describe this feeling, but overall it's pretty fun. I really like the hectic dark rooms, and I think B tier for this level. Would be A if it didn't have a really slow start that kind of annoyed me. But moving on to 4-4, Claire de Soleil. I hope I said that right. The rematch fight with V2. It's not quite as iconic as the first in my opinion, but it's still just a crazy awesome fight. After their cowardly defeat, V2 comes back with a brand new arm and looking for blood. They've still got the same loadout as us. It's a fun mirror battle. As for the area design, I think it's a 4 out of 5, especially in the second part of the fight. I think it's really cool sliding down the pyramid, and it's really awesome because you were just, you know, climbing this pyramid. As for combat slash enemies, this is just based on the fight. It's a 4 out of 5. It's a decent challenge with V2's really high damage and general tankiness, and shooting V2's coins before they can, even though I didn't do it in this clip, is a really cool mechanic, I think. I think the fight's overall pretty solid, not quite as iconic as the first. For my enjoyment though, it's a 4 out of 5. I love this fight, like what I said. Not quite as iconic as the first, but I love to fight V2 again, and putting V2 into an end is satisfying, to say the least. High A tier. Always love to play it. 5-1 in the wake of Poseidon. The aesthetic has done a complete flip and we're out of the dry desert and plunged underwater. See what I mean by these layers kind of feel random? It's not a bad thing. The level is pretty fun, especially with the new grapple hook arm. For area design, like I said, the area is cool. 4 out of 5. Love the vast open underwater design, though the switch to heavily mechanical rooms is a little bit jarring, so not a 5 out of 5 exactly. Combat/enemies, 4 out of 5. Great enemy diversity. I love the new sniper robot enemies. I honestly freak out way too much when they're locked onto me, but I have no complaints with the actual enemies. I like the diversity when you're going from room to room. For my overall enjoyment, I think it's a 4 out of 5. The different mini boss rooms, like I just mentioned, are really fun to play through, and searching for the blue skulls is a simple but interesting gameplay loop. Another solid B tier level. 5-2, Waves of the Starless Sea. This one has a crazy aesthetic, sprinting across the open ocean on some small boards with a neat mechanic involving the new immortality giving angel statues, and a solid mini boss at the end. Sounds like a perfect formula for a great level, right? Well, let's get into my ratings. Area design, 4 out of 5. I think the design is great. It's visually very striking, and the only problem I had with it maybe is I think they could have done a bit more with the boat at the end. For combat/enemies, everything up until the ferryman isn't that challenging to me, so I'm gonna give this a 3 out of 5. For my overall enjoyment though, I don't know, I think I'll give it like a 2.5 out of 5, simply because the terrain can be a little bit clunky at the beginning, or more so tedious to navigate, or that's just a me thing. This level, it's alright. I'm just gonna give it a C tier. 5-3, Ship of Fools. All I can say is shit is starting to get trippy. The actual progression through this level is the craziest part. It's a hectic mansion-like level, which doesn't seem too strange until suddenly, boom, everything is flipping and rotating. Area design, 5 out of 5. It's an awesome experience. There's some really cool small parts of this level that are awesome to see, especially like the big old Gabriel projector. I love the disorienting mansion flip, and it filling with water is really cool. The combat/enemies, nothing special here, but I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5. There's nothing really that crazy, but nothing really offensive about it, so I think mid really fits it well. As for my enjoyment, I'll give it a 4 out of 5. I think it was really solid. I love blitzing through this mansion, tearing through pretty much anything that gets in my way, and it was just pretty fun. 5-3 is an A tier level. Generally, a fun experience. Time for the boss fight part of this layer, the Leviathan fight. The buildup is probably my favorite part of this entire fight, honestly. I mentioned this in a previous video, but the bright flash to reveal the monster while you're at the dark bottom of the ocean is really fucking cool. As for the area design, the underwater reveal is spectacular, and just being at the bottom of the ocean is terrifying to me. Overall, the area design is great, so I'll give it a 5 out of 5. For combat/enemies, it's incredibly easy. So many parry opportunities, and if you attack the red creature on the beast's head, it melts down really quick, but it is still fun to fight. So I will give it a 3 out of 5. For my enjoyment, it's a great spectacle, and parrying the bite attack feels really cool. I think it could have been a bit tankier. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. My only complaint is the difficulty, but back-to-back A tier levels. Now, on to the last part of Act 2, 6-1, Cry for the Weeper. Just like 3-1 earlier, this is the culmination of everything you found in the recent layers of hell, except you're more experienced, so of course, it's to a much higher degree. The enemy choice is literally everything you have fought, and it is awesome. The area design, it's 4 out of 5. It's a dark red hell dungeon aesthetic, more stage whiplash like I mentioned earlier, and it is hectic as hell. Combat/enemies, I'll give it a 5 out of 5. The enemy variety is nothing less than a 5, especially at the end of the level when you have to fight 2 hideous mass enemies at the same time while dealing with other enemies. It's so much fun. Enjoyment, 4 out of 5. Hacking and slashing through this dungeon is a lot of fun, and the really dark aesthetic is really cool. But remember at the beginning when I mentioned one level had a soundtrack I'd account for? Yeah, it's this one. Why the hell does it sound like I just entered a microwave from hell? It wouldn't be so bad if the buzzing wasn't so loud, but it's kind of obnoxious at the start of this level. It's also kind of funny though, I will admit it. That's all the bad I could say about this level though. The enjoyment, design, and enemies are all pretty great, so I think this level honestly deserves an A+. You did good, 6-1. On to 6-2, though. I'm pretty sure you all know what this level is. The big climactic Gabriel rematch. I'm gonna cut straight to the chase. This is an amazing fight. The area design is a 5 out of 5. Like I said before, with the dark red hell dungeon, it's really cool. It's a really spooky-ish aesthetic now that there's no enemies. Roaming through an empty dungeon just to find Gabriel at the end, silently playing the piano. Perfection. Beautiful. As for the combat, it's a 5 out of 5. The fight itself is actually really challenging, especially the second phase where Gabriel actually locks in. I love a good challenge, and it took me a good few attempts when I was doing it for the first time. As for my enjoyment, like I said before, I loved it. 5 out of 5. The opening showing Gabriel's absolute rage from you besting him in the first time is super cool, and now he's the apostate of hate, which is also really cool. I don't think I need to keep talking here. I love this fight. I have no complaints. This is an S tier. On to the second P level of the game, Weight of the World, the Sisyphus Prime level. I'll try to keep this short because I made an entire video on this. This level is absolutely insane. Probably the hardest thing I've done in this entire game so far. I P rank all levels on base difficulty, but this one, no. I genuinely couldn't. I had to take the L here. This level is a grind. The area design, we're back in the Hell City, except we're going deeper and darker now. I don't really have too much else to say here. I think they could have added a little bit more to this kind of aesthetic, but I'll give it a 3 out of 5. It's nothing crazy. The combat versus enemies, I have to give it a 5 out of 5 because the gauntlet of crazy difficult enemy combinations is insane, and on top of that, fighting Sisyphus Prime at the very end is also insane, and the Sisyphus Prime fight in general is just so much fun. It was a lot to learn, and 2 health bars for this is crazy, but fitting. For my enjoyment, I gotta drop it down to a 3 out of 5 though. It's wild, but it's a bit much to have before a crazy boss like Sisyphus. Unlike the last P level where it was just Minos, this is a full gauntlet, and I won't go into too much detail, like I said, but as much as I'd like to give it a really high rank, I think the enemies before Sisyphus are just a bit too tedious for me. There's so much going on, and trying to keep your style points up is a lot. Respect to whoever can P rank this. I'm gonna do it eventually, but it probably won't be pretty. I'll give this level a B rank. Boss fight is peak though. Finally, on to Act 3, and holy hell, this is where shit starts to become a fever dream. First, let's look at 7-1, a really good introduction to the act. The difficulty has spiked a fair bit, which makes sense for where we are at. Area design, 4 out of 5. This level places you in a bright white area, almost reminiscent of a padded room from an insane asylum. It's very unsettling and very effective at that as well. Combat/enemies, another 4 out of 5. I got new mannequin enemies, and they are absolutely terrifying. The introduction scene made everyone jump. Didn't scare me though, of course, but it was a really cool scene. As for my enjoyment of the level, I'll give it a 3 out of 5. It's a standard gameplay loop, but the Minotaur boss at the end is more tedious than it is fun, but it is pretty cool to do. The 2-part fight with the moving railroad gimmick is cool, but the fight itself fell a bit flat for me and took away from the climax. Still really solid though. Let's put it in B tier. 7-2. This level is a whole different beast. This drops you in the middle of a war zone with even more new enemies, and the whole goal is to deliver a payload, which is a different task from every other level. You go through multiple steps to complete this single task, and it's actually really cool and interesting. Area design, it's a 4 out of 5 for me. It's a Warzone aesthetic with a really good environmental storytelling. My only problem is I think it's pretty easy to get lost. I don't know about you guys. I didn't wait for this building to fall, so I just kept going and kind of forgot to go back there when trying to P-rank this. Combat versus enemies, I gotta give it a 5 out of 5. The Guttermen and the Gutter tanks are a absolutely great addition to the combat. These are very tanky beasts, and they can really fuck you up, but they are super fun to fight, especially when you can parry them. For my enjoyment, I think it's a 4 out of 5. Using the grappling hook for puzzles is a very entertaining segment, but like I said, I did find it quite easy to get lost in this level, so I'll take off 1 point, but it's a great level overall. I think this is a very solid A+ tier level. 7-3, no sound, no memory. I'll get straight to the point. This was my favorite level of this layer. It is absolutely so much fun. Probably the one I found the easiest, but all Act 3 levels have a good difficulty, so that's not a real complaint. Area design, it's a 5 out of 5. It's a super creepy atmosphere in like an almost like graveyard area with dark environments, and it creates a super wild experience when shit starts hitting the fan. Speaking of shit hitting the fan, combat/enemies is also a 5 out of 5. The new blood puppet enemies are freaky and grotesque. They're just little creations made of blood. These blood puppets are pretty much previous layer enemies used to their full extent. For my enjoyment, I think you can tell where this is going. It's a 5 out of 5. There's hectic battle rooms, a great aesthetic, it has a great gameplay loop, and the climax room is like throwing a grenade at you after all of this. It just sends you into hell. I'm thoroughly impressed with Act 3 already, and I'm only on layer 1. This is our next S tier entry. 7-4, like Antennas to Heaven. Remember earlier when I mentioned megalophobia about the Corpse King? Yeah, well, this boss is that on a completely different level. This is the biggest creature we have seen so far in this game. We're fighting a full war machine. Area design, 4 out of 5. The scale and spectacle is absolutely insane, and climbing up the beast is really damn cool for an area. Combat/enemies though is where this falls a little bit flat. I'll give it a 2 out of 5. Fighting the defense system would be cooler if it wasn't just a bunch of standstill components. The core is yet another standstill component at the end with projectiles and lasers, characters, and the actual enemies themselves aren't that crazy. For my enjoyment, 2 out of 5 as well. The outside part is fine, but once you're in the beast, it becomes more annoying than anything else. I think the only real fun part to me is the escape sequence, which is cool, and the design was neat, but the gameplay was really lacking for me here. It's an A tier concept with C tier results. Now, finally, after all of that, we are on to the new stuff. Fraud that just came out. Here is my opinion of Fraud. Here's a quick spoiler warning. I really liked Fraud. Fraud was really fun. Anyways, the brand new layer, 8-1 Heartbreak Wonderland. If you haven't played this yet, go play it first, please. Fraud as a whole is an absolute mindfuck, and that's the best way to put it. Sorry if it's vulgar, but man, this is an actual experience. On to the actual level, the area design is a 5 out of 5 inside of a theater with long winding halls, but are they really long? The space is constantly shifting, and breaking out into the outside is even wilder of a concept. You don't know what's going on with the area design here, and that is definitely the goal of the level, and it achieves it 100%. The combat slash enemies is a 4 out of 5. Getting used to the gravity is a little bit weird, but the new Providence enemies are really cool and a great range threat with cool grapple dodging gimmicks, and of course everything else we've seen before is here as well, so the combat's in general really fun. My enjoyment, a 4 out of 5. The design is insane and I loved it. The gameplay is really solid, but nothing I would really call a 5 out of 5. It's super good though. I think I'll put this level in an A tier. I think it fits. 8-2 Through the Mirror. I'm gonna call this the supermarket level. The wild shit is getting progressively more intense. The level starts with a pool of water that is actually the entrance to a completely different world, and you soon find out that no wall is real in this level, or at least that's how it feels. Nothing is really real, honestly. Area design, it's another 5 out of 5. Just like the last one, the goal of this level is to completely break your brain, and every doorway does that. 5 minutes in, and you're suddenly in a supermarket of hell with infinite reflections. As for the combat slash enemies, 4 out of 5. It's a great challenge, especially any part with death catchers. Death catchers are really cool. They spawn the blood puppets that we've seen earlier. Really fun to deal with. As for my enjoyment, I'll give it a 3 out of 5 because I will say the gravity changes do get really annoying, especially in the later part of the supermarket. This level is a true fever dream. Walking into a room you've been in before to find a puppet version of V1 lying on the floor was an absolutely wild scene. The level is great though, and I think the Mirror Reaper was an interesting gimmick boss. 8-2 is an A tier level. 8-3 Disintegration Loop. The opening room is always a fake version of an earlier level, but you very quickly find out that shit in this level is broken. And that's the whole theme of it. The world is literally ripping itself apart, or that's what it feels like. Area design, absolutely a 5 out of 5. Every room is a combination of like 3 other rooms. You go through one doorway and suddenly you are walking on the ceiling you were just looking at. It is a trippy mess and I love every second of it. Combat slash enemies, another 5 out of 5. Everything at once with very dynamic rooms, plus we get Power, a female version of Gabriel pretty much, and her voice actor absolutely killed it in this room. Then you fight 2 more powers at the very same time. For my overall enjoyment, I think you can see where this is going as well. I love this level. It's a 5 out of 5. I was genuinely exhausted by the end of this level when I saw the red gate, just to go in the red gate and realize that the gate was evil. But this will remain one of the most memorable moments in the entire game for me. The debris terrain section while fighting enemies, absolutely crazy to conclude the level. It's a great challenge. There's dual wield section to finish it all off. Beautiful level. 8-3 might be my favorite non-boss level in this game. It is an absolutely easy S tier. And now for the final level of this video. Man, it feels like I've been speaking for so long. 8-4 Final Flight. Luckily, Fraud wraps up with a great climax. There's a slow start in this cabin-like area, which I don't exactly know how necessary that was, but that's not the main point anyways. You very quickly get into the boss. As for the area design, it is absolutely a 5 out of 5 for me. When you go into the elevator and it explodes, plunging you into a free fall, it is such a cool scene, just falling through this city while trying to fight your way through some angels. Speaking of fighting, the combat slash enemies is a 3 out of 5. The spectacle was off the charts, but the gameplay does fall a bit flat with just a few angels. And the boss fight itself is pretty easy, honestly. It's like almost relaxing. He just sits across the way from you, firing projectiles over and over again. He doesn't really get up and close to make you really dive into the new mechanics, but it's still a cool fight, so I'll give it a 3 out of 5. For my overall enjoyment, I'll give it a 4 out of 5. The free fall movement is a little bit weird to get used to, but it's fun and different. The death scene, plunging you back into the theater at the very end where everything started in this lair, was absolutely perfect. I just wish the giant flying flesh beast got a bit close and physically swung at you, or in general just made things a little bit more difficult, but the projectile combat also makes sense for this. It's a great conclusion, despite some smaller complaints. I think Final Flight gets an A tier. That's all we have for now, so here it is, my finished product. Don't really have much to say, and I feel like a lot of the mid-tier levels are crazy interchangeable, but I really like my S-tier selection. Anyways, that's all I have for this video. If you enjoyed, feel free to subscribe. I play all sorts of games, so you never really know what comes out next. And like I said before, I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, so the sub would be greatly appreciated. With all that out of the way, thanks for watching, and I'll hopefully see you next time.